Okay, very good. All right, so you came in on Friday. I know that you're a news person. You keep abreast of what's happening in the community, even though you're not on island. So you would have known about some of the measures happening here. Did you get the sense that most kids in the UK in particular were keeping updated with what was happening here and the fact that we were about to shut down and what that meant?
From the Caymanian students that
Mm-hmm.
I was in contact with, I would
Mm-hmm.
say yes, absolutely. Um, I had cousins texting me like, what are we gonna do? Are we going home? I still have a cousin who is still in the UK who could not leave, a Caymanian student who couldn't leave. He's studying law,
Mm.
and unfortunately, he has to sit exams not only regulated by the university but as a law student also regulated by a piece of legislation, and so he actually was in essence forced to stay because there was no official statement that classes or exams had been cancelled. But
Wow.
overall, the students that I came in contact with, they knew what was going on, and I think that was all had to do with the Cayman UK Connection Group and the Cayman UK London office because they did a fantastic job, getting the information out. There were email blasts going out, if not every day, every other day. And it was also very easy to contact the London office as well. You can get everyone there by WhatsApp. So getting information was actually very, very easy.
Okay. All right. So you came in on Friday. Tell us what your procedure was. Did you have family meet you at the airport, which would not be what we would recommend, but what actually went down in terms of your re entry into the island?
So we got on the plane, we landed in Cayman. As you entered the arrival terminal, there are persons there that are checking your temperature to see, if
Good.
there's any
I'm
persons coming back
glad to
that
hear
already have
that.
symptoms showing. There were
Yes.
doctors and nurses at the airport
Good.
speaking with persons, saying, do you have a headache? Do you have a high fever? How are you feeling? And once you cleared that stage, then you were able to go to customs and border control. That too was expedited in the sense that there was a separate line for returning students,
Okay.
especially returning students who were going to be transported to the isolation hotels. So we
Good.
got that cleared. We then went, we got our luggage, and the government had staff waiting inside at the at where you collect luggage. And after you collect luggage, they then loaded us onto a school bus, which is on the air side of the airport, near where people would load luggage for us to then get. So we got our luggage, we got on the bus, and then the police escorted us to our isolation hotel.
Okay. So the buses actually had police escorts.
I'm not sure if this is still on.
Okay. Yeah, no, sorry, Jevi, did you hear me? I said the buses had police escorts. Okay, it doesn't. Uh oh. For some reason, it doesn't look like Jevi could hear me there. So hopefully Jevi will just log back in and rejoin us. I'm not quite sure what happened there. Maybe he had a little dip in his internet. So Jevi, hi, are you back with us?
Yes, I'm not
Okay.
sure what happened there. My
So
apologies.
that's okay. Modern technology, my dear. I'll give you a second to fix your camera before bringing you back up. But I was just actually asking you if you had a police escort because that's the first time. There are two things that you just said that we were not aware of. Number one, that the airport is finally checking temperatures, which I think is fantastic. And the other thing is also that you had a police escort from the airport. So the bus was actually escorted from the airport to the hotel facility.
Yes, and to be honest, we still have police positioned outside of the building
Oh,
here.
good.
So I know that there's been a lot of concern that UK students have been seen in public places, I can assure the public that it is not anyone from inside of this isolation hotel, because there are security downstairs. There are also police out downstairs, and like I said, we were escorted by police to the isolation hotel. So we were under police observation, and
Right.
currently are under police observation, and we will, I'm assuming, continue to be under observation until the end of our isolation period.
Javi, we did hear these stories as well about parents actually taking kids out to dinner before allowing them to go into isolation. Those stories are very, very concerning. So I think that perhaps because the police and the premier heard feedback that some of this was happening, that maybe they've really tightened up security a little bit, which is fantastic. And I'm very, very pleased to hear that. So, in your estimation, it would be almost impossible for someone who has gone to the facility to actually get out and about at this particular time.
If I can just get the agreement, if you just give me a minute, I'm just going to reach and get this
Okay,
agreement.
sure.
So we were given an agreement, a list of rules
Right.
that we had to abide by. Now, obviously, I can't go through all of them, but I
Yes.
thought the one that was most interesting that people should know about reads, and give me a minute and I'll find it here. The
Sure.
entrance to the isolation facility will be manned by security personnel. Any person who wishes to leave the isolation facility will be encouraged not to do so, but where they insist on leaving, will be asked to register their name and contact details, and will be reminded that there will be no option to return to the facility. So it's not possible, in my opinion, for any student here to leave the facility, because the government has made it abundantly clear that if you leave, there is no return. And so all I can say to persons is, you should be upset if you see students who you believe have not yet been here 14 days out and about. And I'm no snitch, but I'm telling you to report them, because they are
Yes.
making the rest of the students look bad. And I can guarantee you, we have a group chat here, and everyone in the group chat, or at least most people in the group chat, expressed serious frustration with the fact that people are still being seen at bars and other public places.
Very good. Yeah, because I mean, we were getting word yesterday that basically Rum Point was, party hotspot like any other Sunday. That Smith Cove, someone had a party there, which is again ridiculous. And that even, some homes, like people were just like, oh, let's just come over and hang out kind of thing. And it was just like, why would you do that? I mean, that defeats the entire purpose. But I think a lot of people were not comprehending that the logic and the reasoning behind this entire exercise. And I see someone actually sent me something this morning where now I'll have to check which jurisdiction, but they have said no more than two people because people are not getting it. It's not about, oh, we have 48 people, we have 49 people. It's about the premier saying no more than 50, which in his mind was a small gathering. Apparently, that's probably 48 too many, so that you could actually put that social distancing of 6 feet between yourself and the next person. And so, even businesses, I saw advertising for Saturday and Sunday, knowing that those were going to be the last days that they would be open, and saying, oh, we're going to extend our hours. We're going to have, specials going on. Come on out, support us. And it was like, do you not understand that we should all be ramping this down a little bit in an effort to keep that recommended social distancing? Because we know historically with this COVID-19, as well as even previously dating back to the early 1900s with seasonal outbreaks of certain types of flus that have been, extremely challenging, that those are the measures that worked. Social isolation worked. maintaining this distance of at least 6 feet where you're not in contact with people directly, trying to remain indirectly, even not in contact with them. Those are the things that work. So at the end of the day, if we have a formula that has worked in other places, we should do our best to try to implement those changes, as much as possible. And so it is very disappointing. We were getting word up to the weekend, and I'm going to show you guys here in just a minute. One of the cases that we had posted on our social media platform, where we had this couple who are former residents of the Cayman Islands who were here vacationing and having a great time. And, I don't want to eat into Jevy's time because I know he's actually on a little schedule with breakfast and stuff like that. But Jevy, we are disappointed as well, and anyone who takes a lackadaisical approach to this, because it is extremely dangerous. And I'm glad to understand from you that at least the quarantine hotel, the quarantine facility, seems to be taking the right approach in terms of, yeah, if you come in here and then you subsequently leave, you're not coming back because you're putting everyone at this facility at risk as
It's
well.
I think people need to understand that if you do not follow what is being said by the government, not only is it selfish, but you are absolutely doing a disservice to the country. And I'm sorry, I, 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 I quite frankly don't care who's offended by it. If you can't see the importance of this, then I'm sorry, if your child can't see the importance of this, you should be disappointed as a parent. And if you as a person can't see the importance of this, then I'm sorry, I don't know what to say to you. It is not easy to be in isolation. Many persons know that I am claustrophobic, and so when I found out that I was going to be restricted to just my room, even now it is something that is still scary to me, but I understand the importance of it. And honest to God, if I'm claustrophobic and I can stay locked in a hotel room, because let me also mention, we're not even allowed to go down to the lobby.
Wow.
We have to stay in our rooms. And so if a person like me who is scared of being in an enclosed space can make up my mind or try, because it's a daily struggle to stay in isolation. I'm sorry, other persons can do it as well.
Yep. Wow. Well, tell us then, Jevi, how do you pass the time, during the day? What is it like for you?
Um, I I knew that I was coming to an isolation facility.
Yeah.
Granted, isolation in the UK is slightly different than isolation here, but in preparation, I brought books. I brought my iPad, and of course, there's also TV and stuff in the room. And I didn't know how I was going to pass the time, because all I could worry about was the fact that I'm in a tall building, not near any exits, and locked in a room. That's the only thing that came to my mind. And it wasn't until two friends said, I think you would find it beneficial if you did journal entries to get
Mm,
what you're feeling out. And
okay.
that's kind of when I started to write posts
Right.
relating to, of course, the isolation.
Oh, that's a very good idea, actually. So, a new hobby, perhaps? Journal entries?
Yes, in general, I've always liked to write.
Yes.
That's something I've always liked to do, but I never thought of it in the sense of isolation to as a way to get through and pass the time.
Yes. Okay. Interesting. All right. And what's your daily schedule like, Jevi? Like, what do you do in the mornings? You get up about what time? I mean, this is your first. You just got in on Friday, so it was more like a weekend. Did you even feel that it was the weekend, or when you're in isolation, do you lose track of time a little bit?
reading something, I always know what's going on around me. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't tend to lose track of time. Plus, my daily routine is pretty much the same. My body is still kind of accustomed to the UK time, so I'm usually up from about between 4:30 and 5:30 in the morning. I think this morning I was up from 4:30, and I take my shower. At certain times, they come around and they knock on the door and they give you food as well, and they do that 3 times a day. So obviously breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And
Mm-hmm.
other than that, it's really me FaceTiming with family, me calling family, writing on Facebook, doing literally anything to pass the time.
Mm-hmm. And what, when they bring you food, are these like hotel workers that are doing this? Or who have, I mean, has government had to hire a whole slew of people? Like, what are we
I
talking
I
about
I
here?
I can't say if government has hired because I'm not privy to that information, but
Okay.
I can tell you it's not hotel staff. It's been a mixture of I would say whoever the government is bringing in. Sometimes it's been police officers, sometimes it's security guards, and but people should know that they're delivering us food, but we're not even allowed to directly take items from them. We have they're taking every precaution necessary. We have to put a little table outside of our door. They drop whatever friends or family deliver to us, and they put it on the table, knock on the door, and then we open the door and collect whatever has been delivered to us.
Okay. So they're keeping that social distancing even during the
Yes,
delivery of
absolutely,
food.
100%. They're taking every precaution necessary, to
Yeah.
make sure that everything is safe, everything's done correctly, to minimize any transmission of the
Mm-hmm.
virus.
Okay. We know that you guys are at Comfort Suites. I don't think the government officially said that, but our sources had indicated that that's where the lockdown facility was going to be. The rooms, I guess, are comfortable enough. It's not your own bed, but no
Great.
complaints.
I honestly have no complaints. A lot has been provided. They
Mm-hmm.
deliver water, fruits. They food. They're doing so much that honestly, I didn't know that this was all we would be getting. This was a surprise to me, to be honest.
Yeah. So no one's hanging out at the pool. No one's allowed to go outside of their rooms. We just want to make
Correct.
clear what is
And
actually
we're also not allowed to go to other students' rooms as well.
good. Yeah. Yeah. Because I mean, the interesting thing about it is, yes, you guys are all in quarantine, but as the premier rightfully said last week, this isn't spring break. This isn't a party. And
Correct.
so, possible contamination could be very, very possible even within that facility, because what you've now created is a petri dish for all the returning students. So whatever they have
Correct.
could easily spread amongst that population, but there was no other way to ensure, isolation, proper isolation of the students without, I think, setting up some sort of a facility like this. Just out of curiosity, do you have any idea how many persons are actually there?
No, I don't. I All I can say with absolute certainty is that when I came in, the bus that I traveled in on had myself and eight other students.
Okay. Um, yeah, and I wonder if the feedback that we have been getting about, the kids who are going out with parents to dinner and stuff were the ones who were taking the option to be self isolated at home. And before they went home, they decided to go out to dinner, which again is so incredibly stupid that I can't believe that anyone was actually thinking that that was a good idea. Yeah.
I can't say. I hope that what you just said is nothing but rumors, but I think we can all agree that we've heard it so much, and I heard it to as early as yesterday that people are going out, and I just don't know why. It's mind boggling to me. It really is. It is the epitome of selfishness. I'm sorry to whoever's offended, but it's the truth.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so what time do they normally bring in breakfast for you? Is it right around 8 o'clock? I think you mentioned.
Oh boy. Um, breakfast is, well, I must say, listen, the food has been great, but that's been the one thing that has been a little bit not the best in that it doesn't always come on time. But can you really complain when you're not paying for the food
Yeah.
constantly? So we get 3 square meals a day, and I think for the most part we're all happy with it. I think I've had very little problem. I think, but yesterday was the the latest that I actually got lunch. It was supposed to be there 12:30, and it got somewhere around 2 o'clock.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But other than that, it's been good.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Very good. Very good. So you're in at day, what day now? This would be day.
This is t- Friday, Saturday, Sunday. This is my fourth day.
Okay. All right. So you got 10
Ten,
days, 10 days to go.
10 days to go.
So you're counting down those 10 days. What has been the hardest part of isolation so far for you?
For me, it's the fact that I'm claustrophobic. It's that
Yeah.
I don't like being trapped. And I know people think of claustrophobia as being in a small, tight space, but for me, that's not what it is. It's the thought that I can't leave, and that
Mm,
I'm essentially, for lack of a better word, trapped in this area.
mm-hmm. Interesting. Wow. All right, Jevi. Well, we know you're getting 3 square meals a day at least, so you're definitely not going to starve. What will
Yes.
be the first thing you do when you come out? Like, what are you craving for? What are you missing? What are you gonna do?
Honestly, I have not seen my parents, my family. I haven't seen anybody, and so I think that is the first thing that I'm gonna do is run to West Bay and see my family, because they've been calling me every day, which means more to me than I can ever say. They've been delivering stuff as well for me, and
Mm-hmm.
I think that it would be irresponsible of me if the first thing I did was not to go and see my family.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Jevi, for joining us this morning. I think people certainly found you sharing your experiences in this regard to be incredibly helpful. We'll check in with you maybe a little bit later on in the week to see how you're getting
Okay.
on. Make sure you're still sane and you're still good to go. One of the things that we were just talking about before you joined us is how there's a sense that a lot of our lives have changed because of COVID-19 and perhaps changed in a very permanent way. So there's a
Mm.
new normal, so to speak, of what we can look forward to and what's happening in our lives. And so, what are your thoughts about that? I mean, you're a university student, you're young. I don't know what generation. What generation do you fall into, by the way? Are you a generation
Z,
Z?
I believe I fall into Generation
Yeah,
Z.
you'd be Generation Z. So, as part of that generation, what do you think about some of the changes that we've had to make? There have been some positive environmental impact because of the changes, because of less pollution, people having to stay in, less road traffic. People were even saying that locally, they've not seen the dive site so clear in such a long time. So the ocean is getting a breather. In Italy, they're having quite a significant outbreak, but again, their rivers are the clearest that it's been in a very, very long time. So there's some positive things that are coming out of this, and I dare say,
We were actually supposed to take a trip to Italy this school semester. A couple of weeks ago, I was supposed to go in February. Luckily, we hadn't purchased tickets or anything yet, and then we found out that, obviously, Italy, which has now surpassed China in deaths. So that trip was canceled really quick, because
yeah,
Emmanuel's will cancel something quick, quick. You know that.
oh
You know how
yes,
they feel.
yeah. So what do you think will be some of the long term implications of this new normal? I mean, obviously you've grown up as a Generation Z person who has lived your entire life with technology. You probably can't remember life without WhatsApp. I mean, I can.
No, I can't.
You can.
Definitely. And I think that statement is true for a lot of Generation Z. But growing up here in Cayman, I still remember, opening the dictionary, going to the library and getting a book. I still had to do all of that. I
Right.
remember when I got a computer. I remember not having a computer and then having one.
Right. Okay. So what do you think will be some of the long term effects of COVID-19 on our lives?
I think it is really changing how we socialize with persons. People are becoming very aware now that you can transmit things to persons, because with COVID 19, you can be asymptomatic and transmit it and not know. And I think that is what has awoken people, to that, we're going to have to change how we socialize. We're going to change how we do a lot of things. We're going like I wanted nothing more than to see my grandparents when I came back, but it would be selfish of me to go into a household with somebody who has underlying health conditions like my family, and possibly transmit this virus. So I think it's really changing how people socialize. I also think it's changing how people interact with the government, no matter the platform that is on. I, as a news, as a former news reporter, I've always watched CIGTV, and I can tell you, you don't normally get thousands of people watching anything that the government puts out. And now, when you go and you look at a CIGTV press briefing, there's thousands of people
Exactly.
who are watching it, and
Yeah.
I'm glad that people are watching it. All I can say is I wish that they were watching it from before.
Yeah. No, I mean I've seen, it was kind of a running joke I think before that, government had this CIG option and literally they would live stream if they had 5 people watching, they were lucky. Because yeah, people were not really that interested in that platform at all. But now you see the sort of benefit of having a platform, whether it's government run or not. So I don't know that they'll necessarily sustain those numbers for a regular live stream, but at least for the press briefings, that is a
Yeah,
way for people to get the information. And I dare say, even in the US, it's the same thing. The governors have been having press briefing. The president had one again yesterday. So they've been having more regular press briefings, and they're definitely, communicating in that direct format with the people in their respective countries.
right.
So just a couple comments here for you. Johan says, "My boy Jevi looking like a political prisoner or a madman with that beard."
Hey, to be honest, can I say this?
Yes.
I don't know how much people are watching this right now. That's the nicest thing Johan has sent to me, and he's a
Over
dear friend.
200 people, Javi. Over 200 people.
I'll tell you this. He's a dear friend of mine. But that's the nicest thing Johan has sent to me. So I'm gonna run with it. I'm gonna say thank you, Johan.
All right. Jamie says, prayers to you, Javi.
Thank you.
Sharissa says, proud of this young man. Alice shares those sentiments. She's also very proud of you. Juanita says, hold on, Jevi. Things will get better. Glad to see you and hear your voice. Happy Monday and be safe. And Rachel saying that this is a great example of what you should be doing if you're in quarantine. Um, and Coin Campbell said, great if all could do what you're doing would be okay. Florence says, very smart young man. Atlas, who's also in quarantine, it looks like, has said that the staff weren't even allowed to help a frail old lady take her bags off the bus. Poor lady almost fell off of the bus steps. So they're not touching, I guess, whatever staff are there. They're careful not to touch what you
Listen,
guys have.
y'all can go and read what I wrote on Facebook this morning. They not taking any chances. They like Olympians out here. By the time they drop off the food, they doing a 50-meter dash and getting out of here. I don't know how they run that fast. I telling you, I think we got a new set of Olympians here.
Jebby, your sense of humor Always helps to keep things in perspective. Tasha says, I love this young man and his positive outlook. Thanks for sharing, Jevi. Um, and Rachel is recommending that we keep in touch with you, which we already said that we would, on a periodic basis to see how he's doing. So we will definitely be checking in.
Thank
Eunice
you.
says to stay strong and it's going to get better. Paulette says, oh, sweet Jevi.
Why, thank you. You're gonna make me blush now.
So, um, Desia says continue to be the prime example. You know what is so funny, Jevi? We go back to when Cayman Mall Road first started our show. You were one of our first guests on who came in
Yeah, I
and
remember that.
yes, and you did a little segment with us about students and people who live abroad. And I said from you from day one, we always kind of want to check in on you and see how you're doing, and so life has a way of coming full circle. So here we are again.
Hey, happy to be back, man.
Exactly. And the beauty of technology, I mean, imagine when we first got started, you came in and did a live recording with us, and we had a camera set up
Right.
and whatever. And as you can see, we have evolved into a platform that doesn't require us to be in the same space at all. You're on West Bay Road in a hotel, and I'm in Newlands, sitting in my house. And this is modern technology, and this is one of the benefits of living in the world that we currently live in and having this level of flexibility. And the ironic thing about it, as someone was saying to me just the other day, is because of the way in which I have decided to do a regular show platform, it has given me a certain amount of leverage. So even traditional talk radio, a lot of those I know, Star 92.7 has decided that they're not going to have anyone in studio right now. So unfortunately, that show isn't going to be on. So people have had to cancel some live production. But with technology, there are ways to leverage what you have and to kind of level up a little bit, which, I guess those of us who were a little bit ahead of the curve are thankful that we were.
Yeah, definitely.
Sharissa,
Definitely. The government should be commended because, as far as I can see, they have not only thought of every precaution, but they've implemented every precaution because I think it is near impossible to have a transmission out of this hotel.
yeah, that's good. Yeah. But I mean, you have a key to your room, but
I
you
do,
just,
I do, I do. I have the keys right here.
but you're just not permitted to leave.
Correct. Well, correct.
Yeah.
So I guess I can
So
step
what are
back
you doing?
when I'm not in.
I'm just curious about this. 14 days in isolation. What if you run out of clothes? Like, what if you didn't have 14 days worth of clothes?
Oh, they've also thought about that. So
Good.
today, I'm told that island cleaners will be coming by to collect our laundry as it relates to bed sheet linen and towels,
Okay.
etc. And then tomorrow they will come and they will collect our personal garments, clean those, and then bring them back.
Oh, wow. Okay. Very good. Awesome. Sharissa says he's to be commended, wishing he had a room with a window or a balcony, as it would help.
I do have a window. Unfortunately, I don't have a balcony. I wish I had a balcony too, but I must say I'm very happy with my room.
Okay. First Lady Jan says, Jevi, God got you. Alric is tuned into the program this morning. He says, Jevi with the belly. So I guess he's,
Yes. Big up, Alric. I hope you're doing God's best.
yes, he tells you to stay safe. And he says it does look like an interview from Cuba. I'm not sure what he means by that.
Hey, Cuba have seem like they're having some medicine now, so that might be a good idea to get down to Cuba.
Yeah, I don't know about that. We're going to talk about that a little bit later on because it seems like they're using up antiviral drugs that are going to cause another situation. Um, but Juanita says, tell him John John says to heal up and be safe. Thanks, Sandy.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
And then we have just a few more comments we'll read before allowing you to go, Jevi. Alex says,
All right.
Jevi, Was there a nurse at the airport when you arrived? Just curious what the experience is like at the airport. So I think Alric missed that part of the show when you did say that they were checking temperatures
Yes.
of everyone. Did you see any HSA or nursing staff?
Um, I'm assuming that the doctors and the nurses that were there were HSA staff, but the HSA staff has also delivered were kind enough to deliver us a packet, and inside the packet they gave us a thermometer so that we can check our temperature every day. They also gave us paracetamol and some contact information, for anyone who is in isolation and who has concerns.
Now, did you hear on Saturday that a returning student was taken to the hospital? They've actually been hospitalized. I don't know if you saw
That
that.
I saw the press release,
Yeah.
just with everyone else,
Okay.
but I can say from being inside the isolation hotel, I wasn't aware that somebody had actually left.
Okay. Right. So whatever's going on, you don't know. Someone here says that this is Steph says that I back up the no alcohol. I'm so annoyed. They took my bottle of rum, which I was planning to use for medicinal purposes. So did they? I don't know about that, Steph. We might find that hard to believe.
I mean, listen. I use the rum for medicinal purposes too. This I
um,
I wish I could have it.
so did they actually go through your things and
No, no, no.
okay. Right. So maybe her rum bottle was very obvious, like maybe she was just carrying it in her hand or whatever. So Atlas said there's no point in wearing clothes if you're alone in a room, to be honest.
You
so
preaching to the choir, Atlas. You preaching to the choir.
so Jeffy only put on clothes
I put on
because
clothes for this interview.
okay.
I put on clothes for this interview.
Ah, we got you. We got you. Well, thank you very much for doing so. We appreciate that.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, folks. So again, we've been listening to Giovanni Ebanks, Jevi, as he's affectionately known in the local community. As you guys will remember, Jevi was part of the duo talk show duo over at Cayman Crosstalk for, was it 6 months, a year, maybe?
Just under a year, I believe it was.
Yeah. And he also had a stint at Keyman 27, where he was doing some on camera work. So Jevi is in the UK doing his studies in media with the hopes,
Film and TV production.
film and TV production. Thank you. Hoping to maybe return to the Cayman Islands. Although there's not a whole lot of scope in the Cayman Islands for that. We'll see how he's able to make that work. And, you know, he comes often enough. I always see him when he's on his breaks and stuff from school. So, Jevi, when are you hoping to be able to go back to the UK?
September.
Okay. So, you're going to be here for a little while.
Yes.
Awesome. Okay.
Long, long, long time.
Yeah. So, hopefully, this.
I'm not complaining though. I'm not complaining. I'm happy to be home. It was really cold when I left. So.
Yeah. Just let me ask you something quickly about the UK. What's the general feel on the ground there? Are people feeling? I mean, I've heard some conflicting stories about nursing staff going to the hospital, going to the grocery stores after working, you know, like a night shift or whatever, and not being able to find any groceries, and it seems like they're having some their system is strained a little bit. Did you get that sense, even as a student, that there were some tough times ahead for UK citizens?
I I really don't know if I can say it because even though I am a British citizen and I'm entitled to use stuff like the National Health Service and stuff, I don't. I still return to Cayman and go to my private physician here. And so I've never gone to a health facility in the UK. I've also not been to a grocery store in a long time. I live on the top floor of a 17 floor building, so I made the decision to start getting my groceries delivered because ooh, that was very high up. So I've been told that things are running low and persons are working long shifts and then going to the store and not finding anything. But I can't say firsthand or with any certainty.
Right. Just to pick your brain a little bit, we over I think it was on Friday, someone messaged us at Cayman Mall Road and said, "Oh, there are UK citizens who wish to come back home. Not UK citizens, sorry, Caymanians who have moved overseas, who now want to come back home." And I thought to myself, why? I mean, not trying to knock them or anything, but this is not the time that we actually need a mass influx of individuals. And these are people who moved overseas and who were all too happy to always brag about life in the UK and how cheap and expensive things are, and what a good time they're having over there. And then all of a sudden now they're like, oh, the whole family wants to move back. And I found that difficult to understand.
Really?
Yeah, and here's the best part. They were saying, "Oh, is government going to provide me with a ticket?" And I'm just like, "Are you kidding me? Are you not understanding the critical times that we're in right now? Government can't provide you with a ticket because government has to be careful that despite the fact that they have said that they have some reserves financially in an economic crisis like this, in a healthcare crisis, that could dwindle very, very quickly. So why would we want
I
to
don't
bring you
know.
back now?"
I don't know why somebody. Let me be frank. I cannot speak on behalf of the Cayman Islands government, but I think it is ridiculous to for somebody who, on their own free will, moved away from the country, to
Yeah.
then expect the government to provide a ticket. Let me be clear. I came back, and the government didn't provide me with a ticket. That
Mm-hmm.
was me providing me the ticket. Um, you know, government's position on that was, as of Thursday, flights would have been resident only into the country. But the government, as I can see it, is doing as much as they can possibly do, and even more. But I
Mm-hmm.
think that's a bit concerning that somebody who willingly moved away would think that the government is entitled to pay for them to return.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even understand the logic of why you'd want to come back right now in any event. Um, what's the point?
Because I had that thought when I was in the UK, and it is very simple for me. I think of every possible scenario to my detriment at times,
Mm-hmm.
and I thought to myself, what if I got the virus and I died? I'd rather die in Cayman, not in the UK. I tell you the honest truth.
Yeah, but you're also a student. You've not decided to
Right.
live abroad. Like I mean, you're living abroad, but on a temporary basis. So it's not like
Yes.
you have picked up your entire life, took out your pension money, and done all of
Exactly.
these very permanent things to be able to start up a new life in another country. And I think that that is a very, very different situation. And for you to now, right smack in the dab in the middle of a global crisis, for you to say, "Oh, well, I'd like to come back home," no job. Our economies have collapsed, at least tourism, for the short term, hopefully. So there's no prospect of you probably getting any employment. Why would you want to come back and burden a small economy like the Cayman Islands? Like it seems very, very selfish.
I trust me. I don't understand it, and I didn't know about it until you just mentioned it there. But
Yeah.
I can't see the logic in that at all.
Yep. So someone is wanting to know if you have heard of the phrase called boomer remover.
Yes, I have. Boomer remover is, for those who don't know, is the term that young people have come up with for the coronavirus. It was first announced that the coronavirus was affecting older persons,
Oh, right.
and it was believed to be the baby boomers, hence it being called the boomer remover. So that is a term that I've seen quite a bit on social media.
Yeah. But I mean, obviously, it's more likely to impact older people, but we've seen a 21-year-old Spanish coach die from it. We have seen a mother just the other day, I think she was 46 or 49, a mother of six who had survived. Oh, is that your breakfast?
I think so.
Go ahead and grab it. Go ahead and grab it, Jerry. Um, yeah. So I was just saying that we saw a mother of six who was 49 die of this disease because again she already had a compromised immune system, And what that essentially meant was that, once she got this, it took a much more difficult toll on her, as an individual who had this previous illness that she had thought actually that, she had won, which is so incredibly sad. I mean, it's just absolutely, absolutely crazy. So, Jevi, you're back. Uh oh, looks like we just lost him. Let me show, while Jevi's reconnecting, let me just show you how important it is to maintain your sense of humor. Jevi did this yesterday, which was shared on her social media platform. Everybody thought that this was so funny. And again, just sometimes having a sense of humor will help us all deal with difficult times and getting through situations like this. But Jevi has this little sign here that says, name Jevi with the belly, date of birth. Sentence is 14 days. Reason because Alden said so, which is kind of very tongue in cheek, and very, very funny, obviously. So, Jevi, welcome back again. How is the internet connectivity there, by the way? Sorry, Jevi, can you hear me? Uh oh, I don't know if he can't hear me or what's going on here.
Hello.
Hi, there we go.
I'm here.
All right, Jevi, I was just asking, how the internet, like, what's the internet been like there?
The internet been fine for me. I think there are a couple persons who have PlayStations and stuff to keep them busy, and I think they're saying that they wish the internet was a little bit faster. But honestly, for me, for what I do, it's been fine.
Okay, very good. Awesome. And we were just sharing your mugshot there. That was done obviously before. That was done before you went in, or did you do that with your camera?
No, no, I did it here.
Okay.
Actually, I stood right here and did it.
Okay. How did you get the sign
I
printed?
have a. Oh, I just typed it on my. So let me just take it out and show you. I just typed it on my iPad, and then I held up the iPad like on the thing. So
Oh, okay.
I actually still have the picture here. So
Oh, that was your iPad. Ah, it looks like a real
yeah,
physical
it's my
sign.
iPad.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's pretty cool. All right, good stuff. All right, Jevi, thank you so much. We appreciate you again, joining us this morning. And I think people enjoy the conversation. We've had up to 230 something people tuned in, while you were sharing your experiences with us. We'll check in with you in a couple days, see how things are going. And you can always message us if you need any special supplies that we can send your way.
A little bit of rum is good enough.
Obviously, I'm guessing they have a no alcohol on premise, policy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
you see,
Alrix,
try and make it.
yeah, Alrix says tongue in cheek here. Jevi, make sure that you have a record of your university attendance. I don't want them to say you can't run for politics. Jevi for 2025. Very funny, very funny. All right, Jevi, enjoy the rest of your day. Looks like they brought you some water and stuff as well. What's up for breakfast this morning? What do you have on the breakfast tray?
Beef patties. I got beef patties.
Do you get to request, like, do they give you options for food or?
Yeah, they do. So you know, there are normally two options to pick from, and you pick. So they call you the night before, and they take your breakfast and lunch order. Breakfast, lunch, and do they take? Did they take dinner order last night? I don't remember to be honest, but I know last night they at least took breakfast and lunch.
Okay, so Atlas says that, third floor just got breakfast, so Jevi soon hear a knock. So
I got mine.
obviously, Atlas is on the third floor. Okay, well, thank you so much again for, tuning in, folks, with Jevi. We're going to continue the discussion, so do not go anywhere. We're getting more and more sophisticated here with our shows, by the way, because soon I'm going to start dropping in like, video commercials. Like right now, we could say, and we're going to go to commercial break, and boom, we're going to have a Burger King ad coming your way. So we're for it. This is what modern technology. Yeah, man, definitely. We've seen our numbers increase significantly during trying times like this. We saw a big boom during the earthquake because of our coverage on that. And of course, because of our coverage on the coronavirus, we've seen a subsequent increase as well. So, I think people enjoy what news media can bring to the table during tough times like this for sure. And just to be able to wake up in the morning and have that little familiar voice there with us. Jevi,
Right.
good chatting with you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Have a good day.
Bye. You too.
All right, folks. So again, that was Jevi joining us from Comfort Suites here in the Cayman Islands. He is one of many quarantine students who decided to take up that opportunity and quarantine themselves at the facility. It is voluntary in the sense that they could choose to do that, or they could have chosen to go home to their families. But for some people, it was an unrealistic challenge for them to be able to go home because of different conditions, whether or not they had like elderly people living in their homes or the entire home could not self isolate, because that was one of the things that the premier and the medical experts on the local panel that were having the daily prep briefings were saying that was really, really important, was for people to comprehend this isn't just about students coming home and self quarantining. This was also for people to understand that it was important to quarantine the entire house when you had someone coming in. And so that was a requirement. And I know some people who have been very lax with that. They've been still going to work and they've still been doing other things that they, should not have been doing. So, people are not taking this as seriously as they could. And I just want to say, Helen said Sandy asked this young man to address the nation instead of Alden. Ooh, yikes. I think that was a jab there at the communication level. I think Alden's under a lot of pressure right now. And he might very well be almost a one man show in the sense of, although we did see on Friday, was it Friday, Juliana O'Connor Conley finally came out and made statements regarding education and what the schools had in place. So that was good to see. Joey, I think Joseph Hugh came out one day last week, and he likewise made some statements about commerce and business licensing and different things that were being put in place to help those businesses. The health minister, because this is at the crux of it, a health issue, he has been there on a daily basis, and I think it's fair to say that most people have not really been impressed with his performance to date. But when you hire unqualified persons to do a job, this will be the consequence during times of crises. And you never know when a time of crises is going to come up on the political front. Alice, she indicated that they were able to find a solution for her daughter. Now, if you guys remember, Alice had joined us, not joined us in the program, but she had commented last week that her situation was very, very difficult because she had a 15-year-old child that would be returning. No one under 18 was permitted at the facility. So, Alice, we actually want to find out what ended up being the final solution in the end for you. I don't know if you can jump into the discussion here with us now, but I would like to send you, Alice, a link. I don't know if you ever did, if you ever sent me your number. So I'm going to just try to maybe WhatsApp you, Alice. I don't think I have you on WhatsApp, but I'm going to try to send you a quick message here to see. Oh my gosh, look at that agouti. Oh my God, he is huge. Whoa. Folks, I'm sorry. I had my window open and I just saw this. I tell you no lie, that thing was at least this big. He was just hopping by my window. That is the biggest. We have a lot of agouti in this area, but we haven't seen them recently because of a development where they cleared out their homes, but that was a huge, and it's unusual to see them this late in the morning. Normally they come out a little bit earlier, but that thing was huge. Oh my God. Like I thought at first it was like a small dog or something. That's why I kind of did a double take to see if someone's dog in the neighborhood gotten out. Whoa. That was a huge agouti. I wonder where he's going. Whoa, that's amazing. Anyway, sorry folks, that just shocked me. The size of this. Beverly tuned in from New York. Thank you so much, Beverly. Um, so, wow, that was a really big agouti. Bella says, love how his breakfast is here. It took 2+ hours for my dinner to come, and breakfast still isn't here. So, Bella, tell us I'm curious to know what floor you're on. I don't know if they're taking a little bit longer, depending on, I don't know if you're on a top floor. Do they start from the top and work themselves down to the bottom? Alice, we're trying to get a little bit of an update from Alice to see if she can provide us with any information on how things are going with her. The internet seems to be crawling a little bit right now, so I'm not quite sure what's going on here. We do struggle a little bit with internet at times. All right, so let us change gears a little bit. There's a situation yesterday that I do want to address with a young man, Mr. Gary Castillo, and I call him young because Gary was, about 46 years old, and he unfortunately passed away yesterday morning at 3 o'clock in the morning. And there's been quite a bit of back and forth about what might have happened to Gary. He traveled to Honduras on Monday, and he died after being taken to the hospital on Friday morning. So we want to go through some of the things that we don't know, some of the questions that remain, and our condolences to Gary and his family, because we understand that Gary was a very nice guy, super loved by a lot of people. Jackie says, I just want to ask if it's true that they gave Honduras people $600 that don't have anything. If it's true, where and who? Thank you for being so real. Love it. Okay, we're not aware of the government just making blanket payments like that. So I don't think that that is true. What the government has said is that people who need assistance, so at this particular point, they've recognized that there will be foreign nationals that are stuck here for a bit and they're unemployed because their businesses have shut down. So if you need assistance, you need to contact the Needs Assessment Unit, which is NAU, and go through their process. Now supposedly they have a streamlined process where it's not as challenging to get assistance from them, and for the time being it will be, I think, also made available to expats, simply because of the condition and the situation that we're in. So Jackie, I do not think that that is true. They have indicated that they will do, I think, an extra payment or something to the elderly people who were on their list for assistance already, like seamen and stuff like that. And I also believe that they have indicated that people who are holders of a public transport license would also be eligible for some sort of government assistance. But again, I did see over the weekend that there was an application that was required for that, despite the fact that I swore initially that the government said, and the premier said, that they would be contacting all of those persons with a current public transportation license, and that they did not actually have to do anything. But I did see over the weekend that an application was being circulated. So if you need that application, we'll try to see how we can share that with you in a bit. Sharon joins the conversation. Good morning, Sharon. Thank you so much for tuning in. I know I missed a few of your questions that were not specifically related to Jevi, so I'm going to see how far back up I can scroll. Bella, sorry. Hopefully you're going to be getting your food soon, Bella. just see what other questions we have. So again, big shout out to Jevy for joining us this morning. Atlas says social distancing level 2.